It's Brad Talks, and I have Steve Harris with me. Steve Harris, people who watch Channel 4.
Yeah.
Are your official title, what, the feature reporter?
Yeah, I could go with feature reporter. A lot of people say MMJ, which stands for multimedia journalist, but I always thought that sounded like a candy bar, so I like feature reporter.
Now, how did you get into the business? Now, first off, you're a Missouri resident.
Oh, yeah.
And you were born and raised where?
Houston. Well, born in Rolla, Missouri, raised in Houston, Missouri, near Licking. I like to say Licking better because that's kind of funnier than Houston.
We have all these interesting town names in Missouri, don't we? There's Licking, and there's a bunch of other ones. Right. So you got into the business. First off, you went to Licking High School, I guess?
Houston High School.
Houston High School?
Missouri. Yeah.
And then you went to college?
I did, Evangel in Springfield, Missouri. I wanted to be a lawyer really bad because I was into debate and theater. Yes, and my dad says, you'll be acting. He'll be acting really happy when you ask, do you want fries with this? So he said, you better do something. He wanted me to be a news anchor and make millions. Well, I'm not an anchor. I don't make millions, but I am in television. I enjoy it.
So now you've been around the country like a lot of the news people. Have you worked in other markets?
Just honestly, Springfield, Missouri for 6 years, and then Channel 4 was my next job from 2000 to now.
Now, you and I have somebody in common. We both know Gary Whitaker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gary Whitaker, who was once upon a time the news director right here at Channel 4.
Right here, and then he was general manager at KSBR when I worked there.
Did you know the story behind him in Springfield, that he was like the star high school football quarterback?
I did not know that.
Yes, he was the...
I wish I'd known that when I was down there.
He was the quarterback for the Springfield team, and was very, 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 very popular guy.
Wow.
And the interesting part of it was there's a sad part of this whole situation with Gary, and I shouldn't bring that up, but he ultimately got fired from Channel 4. Do you know that crazy story with that?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah,
we didn't ask a lot of questions.
Very, very, very sad. Very sad. Okay, so you graduated, and what was the first job out of college?
I met my wife in college, and so I dumped out of, at the end of college, I was a senior. She was a freshman. I actually didn't graduate because I had some credits left to go, but you're in love.
Are you going back?
Now I don't know, at 55. We go to Colorado. Her mom owned a restaurant. I waited tables. I'm like, I got to get back into the business. So I go down to Springfield. KSBR at the time was the number 3 station. They didn't have photographers when everyone else did, and I applied there. I worked at Bass Pro part-time, $5 an hour. I ran the studio cameras at KSBR. New company bought them, and then they're like, we're going to add photographers. You want to do it? I said, I do, and I'm a good copier. So I would watch guys that were really good in the business and just kind of copy what they did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, that was because they brought in Gary, and Gary turned that station around.
Yeah, that was the new owners. I forget... Davis Goldfarb owned it when I started, and it was... Yeah.
It was a company called Telepictures or something like that?
Yeah, that was before that. Lorimar Telepictures, then Davis Goldfarb bought it from them, and then I think it was Cottonwood Communications. It was like a group of investors. I don't know a lot about it. That's when they brought Gary in. He put money into it. They put money into it. They got news cars for the first time ever, and equipment, and they hired people. He did a really good job.
And they had a huge facility down in downtown Springfield.
It was, big station.
An old furniture store.
It was, that's right.
Yes,
You're right.
An old furniture store. So you were there from when to when again?
94 of August until November of 2000. So
and then you
6 years.
came to St. Louis.
Yep.
Now, the interesting thing about it is you're on air right now, but you didn't used to
be. No.
How did you start out here at Channel 4?
A photographer. They hired me as a photographer, and I did a good job, and they liked what I did, as I was kind of think outside the box and do things different. It's kind of cliche, but it's true. So they made me do a lot of their special series pieces, and then the boss had me move me to the I-Team, to do the I-Team. There was 3 Steves in there, Steve Shamraz, Steve Perrin, Steve Harris. I was photographer, producer, and reporter. I did that for a while. Then they pulled me out of that, put me on the mornings shooting, and our union agreed that we could have our voice on camera, right? For, I think it was like $25 extra if we'd go on. I said, yeah, I'll do it. So it was pretty funny. I tried to be funny with it, and like, oh, well, I'll tell you what, you do a pretty good job. You want to be on TV. I went, I'll try it. So the first thing I did was, online gaming in Illinois. So I said, well, if I did that, I'd do it from my home. That's the cool thing. Can I just go home and do the live shot? I guess I took the stuff.
You're doing online gaming,
right?
Did,
and I filled up my coffee cup, and I go live, and I go, well, I wish we could do all this stuff from home, like the bad weather, like it's snowing outside, stay inside, ha ha ha. Well, there was a big shot from Belo there at the time, and I didn't know. And Sean McLaughlin, who was the news director. asked me, you know who this guy is? I'm like, no. He's, well, he was here, and he asked me, who was the guy who did the thing with the coffee cup? He said, oh, that's one of our photographers. We let him be on the air. He goes, he's great. We need to have him teach the other people how to do good live shots. That's how they should all look. From there, they moved me to the mornings, being the morning show funny guy for 7 years, and then I moved into doing stories.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. Now, what's interesting about this is, and this is me being an old media nerd, it used to be that the IBW guys, the union guys, like the cameramen and the after guys, if you were talent, you couldn't touch any equipment,
That's
correct?
how it was when I got here. When I first got here, they can't push a button, they can't start record.
Right.
If you need someone to start a feed, you got to go get a engineer, IBW. So and you couldn't mess with it at all.
Right, and it's sort of created, because I have friends of mine that worked in TV as well too. They told me about how it created sort of a bad atmosphere, that it was sort of like us against them, sort of internally.
You had your friends, that was one thing, but and I mean, a lot of the reporters who, I got to get this done, and I got to find an engineer, and you got to do that. Over the years since I got here, it's really relaxed, and we gave some stuff, can we ask questions? We need you to talk on camera. We really need that. If you compensate us a little more, so they did, and now it's way different. Now we got reporters editing. We had editors. Editors edited. Before I got here, it was editors edited, photographers shot, truck operator, every different position. When I got here, photographers could edit. The talent still couldn't, and then we had truck operators, and they were the first ones to get reassigned when they decided we need truck operators. They didn't let them go; they just moved them to different jobs, which is okay. Everybody did everything then.
So now, when you were a photographer, were you also driving one of the trucks?
Oh,
around?
yeah. The live truck, not this big satellite truck.
Not the satellite truck.
Specialized, but the live, I had to train on it, train how to tune in, shots. And
Are those pretty much gone now?
I asked the other day, our chief photographer, we still use the satellite, the live trucks? Said, no, we've got one that still works. We don't really use it.
Now, the interesting thing, explain why that is. Because in the old days, to get the video back to the station, that the truck with the mast that came up had a satellite dish on it.
Yeah, microwave.
Right.
Yeah.
You would aim that microwave dish at a receiving site, and
which
you'd
we
get
had
it.
Several. I remember being on the phone like, point it at Olivet. No, go ahead and try Alton.
9666 Olive, believe it or not. Yeah.
That's funny, yeah.
We had live stuff up there as well, too. So now the interesting part of it is, what happened?
Well, they start making these things called Live View, which are little backpacks. And it's a backpack with like 8 cell phone cards in it. And the first time we got it, we're like, this is going to work? It did. It was great. Take it almost anywhere. At the time, if there was someone else there from another station using it, they use all the bandwidth up. They've gotten way better. So now... And phones. I mean, we sometimes use a cell phone. I just put your stream up on the phone. We started that, and then they made these live views, they call them. It's all backpack. You don't need it. What's the point? You don't have to run the cable. We used to have like 300 feet of cable.
Right.
Run. See if you can get the cable upstairs. Now it's like just go up with the backpack. Yeah, it's really easy now.
And what's interesting about that is that I find that fascinating. Is essentially what you're doing is you're transmitting the audio and video over the cell network.
Yeah,
correct?
That's exactly right. Yep.
But what you're doing is, and what you mentioned, and I don't want to get a nerdville on this, but what's interesting is there's not enough bandwidth on one cellular connection, but what you're doing is you're using multiple cell phone connections.
It's a bunch of different cards from different cell towers.
And then what it's doing is it's combining all that into it's going over the cell network, and then when you get it here, it splits it apart or puts it back together.
Exactly right.
And essentially that's what the audio and video is.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So you guys, and when they call, because there's a term that was pejorative for a while, is it still pejorative when they call you a backpack journalist?
Nothing bothers me. I go with one-man bands. We used to say one-man bands, Hey, he's a one-man band. But that's kind of what it is. But yeah, it was. I never understood the backpack journalist title. Well, you got all your stuff in a backpack, but I don't use a backpack.
Well, but it was sort of pejorative, like, he's not a real journalist. He's a backpack journalist.
Not a capital J.
Right, exactly. So now the interesting part of that is with you, and what you started, 94?
In the business in 94.
So 32 years now, right?
Yeah.
32 years, things have drastically changed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we, again, bigger markets did not do the one-man bands, or they just didn't do it. Now, even Chicago now has some people to do it. Los Angeles has some people to do it. These are major, major markets, The cameras have gotten really small. I like the bigger ones because they look more professional. Now I feel like I'm shooting a wedding. Does he really work for Channel 4? No, I do. But that's just how it's going. They don't make the big ones like they did. And
I remember the first time, and unfortunately, I'm going to mention your competition, Channel 5.
Oh, yeah.
You remember when Highway 40 was shut down when they had the big construction project
Yes, I do remember that. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
They had a day, and I went there that day, when they opened up the stretch between 270, I believe it was 270 down to Lindbergh or something like that. And it hadn't officially opened, and they invited people to come and just hang out on the interstate, okay? And it was a day where, and I remember this, it was like in the winter, it started cold, and I walked the interstate, and I saw for the first time a backpack journalist from Channel 5, and I thought to myself, okay, what the hell is that? I saw the guy.
They started it in this market.
Right.
Actually.
I saw the guy set up a tripod. And I thought, oh, hold it. He's touching the camera. How is that possible? He's putting on his wireless microphone. He's framing his shot, and he's going back to the camera. That's rolling a little bit of a video to see if he's in the frame right. And then he's doing a stand up, and then he's doing interviews. And I'm going like, okay. And I went over to him and I said, okay, where's your truck? And he says, we don't have a truck. I go, well, how do you get this back to the station? And he took me over to his car. He had like I don't know, it was like some kind of might have been an SUV. And he showed me the unit with the cell phone.
Yep.
And I'm going like, holy cow, times have changed.
Yeah, and originally we were really worried. We're like, as a photographer at the time, like, man, is this going to like kill the photographers? No, it hasn't really. They still hire photographers because you got to have them. I mean,
right.
There's instances where you can't do it by yourself. And not everybody can write, shoot, voice, edit, all of it. Not everybody can do that.
Do you know the fact that the station you work for, Channel 4, and this is interesting because I was going to school at SIU to study journalism. By the way, I have 2 useless journalism degrees, a bachelor's and a master's.
Oh, I know another guy like
What would that do? Is there a job here I can get? Is that sweeping the floors or something like that? Parking lot attendant or something like that?
Well, since I'm 4 credits short of graduating, I don't know.
Okay, do you know that Channel 4 was the very first station in the country to go all? Back then, it was ENG.
I've heard that. I did hear that. Yeah, this new thing we call, CBS owned it.
Because in the old days, and if you remember this, in the old days, they used to send cameramen out with 16 millimeter film cameras.
I wasn't involved, but I know of it, and I remember seeing some.
And when I was going to school at SIU, we still had what we called a telecine room. Do you know what that was?
No.
Telecine room was a room where it had movie projectors, but the movie projectors didn't go onto a screen. They went onto like a camera. So in other words, what you're doing, you were converting essentially film to video. And when, like at a TV station, when they played a movie, like let's say 40, 50 years ago, Channel 4 would play a movie like at night or something like that, they would literally have the movie on 16 millimeter, and they would run it through the telecine where the reels would be on the projector, which would project into a TV camera, and that's how they got the video on the air.
That is amazing. All the steps.
And when I first started at SIU, they were teaching us still how to edit 16 millimeter, where we literally had splicing blocks.
I know about it.
And we would, cut the film, and we'd put a little tape on it. We had a clear thing and stuff like that. And to the point where the interesting part of that was when I went to school at SIU, it was one of the most sophisticated colleges in the country. We had, and this is funny because I still run into people when I went to school in my generation. We had, and this is Brad the nerd, RCA TK44A cameras, which at the time were the exact same cameras they were shooting the NBC News with and the Tonight Show with. So when we had a lot of people that when they graduated from SIU got hired by a lot of the TV stations because that's what the TV stations were using. We were using the same, and back in the day, they were like $100,000 cameras, okay? The camera you were using with me before, ballpark?
6, maybe.
6,000. And the crazy thing about it is is that a 4K camera?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will.
And back in the day, we were shooting 4x3 video with like what? 320 pixel or something like that.
That's great. Like that. I remember using the old decks. We would have the camera, and then you'd have to connect the deck to 3/4 inch tape.
Right.
And you got here, and it was beta. And remember editing on tape, in, out, preview, edit. Now when we first got, I was the first one at Channel 4 to use nonlinear because I was in the I team. First one trained, first one doing it. I'm like, this changes everything. You know, with nonlinear, you got your Avid stuff. Now you're moving this here,
and now
everything's so easy.
Everything's digital. Everything's on a computer.
Everything is, yeah. Cards instead of tape.
Right, and you're doing no tape at all whatsoever.
No, not. I don't. I don't think anyone does.
Steve, I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody want to go ahead and get in contact with you, you got your socials and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Steve Harry. Harri, because my Facebook was hijacked and they dropped the S and I can't get it back. I know that's my Facebook for my professional, but Stephen Harris is KMOV. My personal's fine. Harris at KMOV.com. Email. I mean, yeah.
And now, where can people see you on Channel 4?
My stuff is Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays and Fridays right now at 6 p.m. newscast, and then 4:55 on Thursdays, the end of the...
And you're not doing mornings at all anymore?
No, I do a lot of Great Day stuff live. Sometimes I'll do Great Day live shots, give away tickets, do fun stuff. So I still do some live stuff because I love live.
Cool. Steve Harris, I appreciate it, man.
No, thanks
and
for
I appreciate you interviewing me in a show that's going to come up on Channel 4.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.